A lot of people say that you're going to get the belt easy. You're going to come in, rip this guy's head off. Then they say they want to see you go fight maybe Alex Pereira or someone bigger, because we've heard you say multiple times you want different division champion, different weight classes. Do you see yourself getting the belt and then going to fight Alex Pereira?
Well, it depends if he wins. So we'll see. Actually, if he win, if he lost, if they give us good money, I want to fight that guy. So why not?
This is the guy.
É o que tá pegando aí?
Ah, Chimaev.
Ah, porra, velho. Pô, vai falar de Chimaev, velho. Pô, esse cara, pô, fala de lutar comigo. Pô, tem que chegar, entendeu? Pô, não tô... Tá longe, velho. Tá longe. Mas eu posso, né, fazer um desafio aí, lutar na área dele, se ele quiser. Olhar, só olhar. Vamos lutar na sua área, então. Pô, vamos lutar no grappling, então. Pô, e outra. A gente pode lutar no UFC, né? Tá passando, tem um evento do UFC, né? Agora, né? O jiu-jitsu lá, tá. Pô, vamos fazer isso aí, então. Vamos fazer acontecer. E outra. Eu nem sei quanto que eu vou ganhar, mas é uma grana boa, né? Pô, tá ligado? Quem sou eu, né? Uma grana boa. E essa grana vai ser doada 100% pra caridade. Tá bom pra você? Chama.
Alex Pereira just dropped an absolute bombshell that nobody saw coming. After months of back-and-forth callouts, Poatan has finally responded to Khamzat Chimaev's challenge. But it's not what you think. Alex Pereira's shocking challenge to UFC Middleweight Champion Khamzat Chimaev, and trust me, this story has more twists than a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu pretzel. Let's dive in.
Eu, quando ganhei do Adesanya, ganhei o cinturão, e aí ele fez a mesma coisa, ele faz isso com todo mundo, queria disputar o meu cinturão. E aí eu entrei em contato com a organização, falei, pô, a gente poderia fazer uma luta no meio pesado, já que ele quer tanto lutar comigo, ele só quer a oportunidade pro cinturão. Aí fica fácil, ele não quis lutar, agora porque eu tô com o cinturão no meio pesado, ele fala de querer lutar comigo. Esse cara só quer surfar na onda dos outros. Quando eu era campeão, ele me intimou, eu falei que vamos lutar no meio pesado, aí ele não quis, correu, aí agora eu sou campeão no meio pesado e ele quer lutar no meio pesado, porque ele só quer surfar na onda.
First, let's set the stage. The rivalry between Alex Pereira and Khamzat Chimaev has been simmering for quite some time now. It all started when Chimaev expressed his willingness to move up to 205 pounds to challenge Pereira for the light heavyweight title. But before that could happen, Chimaev had other business to handle. At UFC 319, Boers put on an absolutely dominant performance against Dricus Du Plessis, landing 12 takedowns and controlling him for over 21 minutes to capture the UFC Middleweight Championship. It was a masterclass in grappling dominance. Meanwhile, Pereira reclaimed his light heavyweight throne with a devastating knockout of Magomed Ankalaev at UFC 320. The stage seemed set for a potential champion versus champion superfight. But there's one small problem. Pereira has his sights set on an even bigger target. Jon Jones at the UFC White House event next year. That's right. Poatan wants to move up to heavyweight and challenge the GOAT himself on the White House lawn.
Alex, you're looking great. Who do you want to fight next?
Jon Jones, White House, chama.
John, what do you have to say about that?
So where does that leave Chimaev? Well, that brings us to the bombshell announcement that dropped this week on Wednesday. Alex Pereira and his coach, former UFC light heavyweight champion Glover Teixeira, posted a video on Instagram that absolutely stunned the MMA world. In the video, Teixeira kicked things off by saying, quote, "First of all, he needs to get there. We need Jon Jones. We want Jon Jones, a bigger name, but Chimaev fights that guy there. If he fights that guy, I'll bet my house on it."
What's up, coach? You training for Chimaev?
Oh, porra. Chimaev, you gotta fight Poatan, bro. You know, he's like, first of all, he needs to get there. We need Jon Jones. We want Jon Jones. Big name. But Chimaev fights that guy there. If he fights that guy, I'll bet my house on it.
But it was Pereira's response that really turned heads. Instead of accepting a traditional MMA fight, Poatan threw down a challenge that plays directly into Chimaev's strengths. Let me read you exactly what he said. That guy says he wants to fight with me. He's got to get out there. Understand? He's far. But I could challenge him in his area if he wants. Let me look at you directly. Let's fight in your area. Let's fight in grappling. And another thing, we can fight in the UFC. UFC is doing BJJ, right? UFC BJJ. Let's do that then. Let's make it happen.
Esse cara, pô, fala de lutar comigo. Pô, tem que chegar, entendeu? Pô, não tô... Tá longe, velho. Tá longe. Mas eu posso, né, fazer um desafio aí, lutar na área dele, se ele quiser. Olhar, deixa eu olhar. Vamos lutar na sua área, então. Pô, vamos lutar no grappling, então. Pô, e outra? A gente pode lutar no UFC, né? Tá passando, tem um evento do UFC, né? Agora, né? O jiu-jitsu, lá tá... Pô, vamos fazer isso aí, então. Vamos fazer acontecer.
Yes, you heard that right. Alex Pereira, one of the most feared knockout artists in UFC history, just challenged Khamzat Chimaev to a grappling match. This is the equivalent of a wrestler challenging a striker to a kickboxing match. It's absolutely wild. But wait, it gets even better. Pereira didn't stop there. He added this sweetener to the deal. Another thing, I don't even know how much I'll make. Good money though, you know who I am. The money is good. That money will be donated 100% to charity. Does that work for you? Chama.
E outra, eu nem sei quanto que eu vou ganhar, mas é uma grana boa, né? Pô, tá ligado, quem sou eu, né? Uma grana boa. E essa grana vai ser doada 100% pra caridade. Tá bom pra você? Chama.
So not only is Pereira willing to face Chimaev in his own domain, but he's also pledging to donate all the proceeds to charity. This is either the most confident move we've seen in years, or Pereira is playing some serious mind games. Now you might be wondering, how did Khamzat Chimaev respond to this unexpected challenge? Well, the Chechen-born champion didn't waste any time firing back. Chimaev responded on social media with a simple but powerful message, "Let's go, easy money." But that wasn't all. In the comments section of Pereira's Instagram post, Chimaev turned up the heat even more, writing, "Let's go, I can submit you both on the same night," referring to both Pereira and Glover Teixeira. Then he added, "Let's go easy money, Alex." Talk about confidence. Chimaev is basically saying he could take on both a current champion and a former champion on the same night. That's the kind of swagger that's made him one of the most feared fighters in the UFC. And honestly, can you blame him? Chimaev's grappling credentials are absolutely elite. His wrestling is suffocating, and his submission game is dangerous. Going up against Pereira in a pure grappling match would heavily favor the middleweight champion. But here's the thing, Alex Pereira knows this. He knows he'd be the underdog in a grappling contest. So why would he make this challenge? We'll get into that in just a moment. Before we analyze what this all means, we need to talk about the subplot developing here. Glover Teixeira, who's been in Chimaev's crosshairs as well, had his own message for the middleweight champion, the former light heavyweight champion, who retired after an illustrious career, made it clear he's not someone to be trifled with. Here's what Teixeira said. "I'm retired Chimaev, but I'm around. You mess with me in the lobby of the hotel, anywhere you see me. You mess with me, I'll snatch the life right out of you, man."
I'm retired, Chimaev, but I'm around. You mess with me in the lobby of the hotel, anywhere you see me. You mess with me, I snatch the life right out of you, man.
Alright, let's break down what's really happening here, because there are multiple layers to this story. Pereira is playing psychological warfare at the highest level by offering to face Chimaev in his strongest area. He's calling into question Chimaev's courage to face him in an actual MMA fight. It's a brilliant tactical move. He's basically saying, "I'll fight you in your world, but will you fight me in mine?"
How can they go from like Devontae Davis to Francis Ngannou? Come on, like the way different and everything. It make no sense. It make no sense. Nikisa reached out the other day and tell me how they need a replacement for Javante. Then I say, okay, what can I do for you? He said, yeah, we're looking for a replacement, but I still haven't get it. I was like, okay, then what exactly can I do for you? Like, we would think about you with that Jake. I'm like, what? I'm like, who's Jake? I was so confused. I'm like, no, bro, come on. Don't disrespect me like that. He sent out some number. I'm like, it's not about the number. I'm not just interested. It makes no sense for me.
Is it flattering at least that they're thinking about you?
Yeah, I think it's disrespectful instead. What flattering? Come on.
Jake Paul might be fighting Francis Ngannou. He was supposed to be boxing Gervonta Tank Davis, but now it turns out that Gervonta Davis has some allegations, and here are the potential opponents: Nate Diaz or Francis Ngannou. To go from fighting Gervonta Davis to now fighting Francis Ngannou, I mean, listen, if he does it, fair play, but I just call number one bullshit. Nate Diaz, yeah, 100%.
Francis Ngannou, the former UFC heavyweight champion known as the Predator, has just sent a bone-chilling warning to Jake Paul. And trust me, you don't want to miss what he said. Ngannou is telling Paul to choose your words wisely, boy. Stay with us as we uncover every detail of this developing story. Let's rewind and understand how we got here. Jake Paul was scheduled to face boxing champion Gervonta Tank Davis on November 14th in what was supposed to be one of the biggest fights of the year, streaming live on Netflix. But here's where things got complicated. Davis was recently hit with a serious civil lawsuit by his ex-girlfriend, accusing him of battery, aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. As a result, Most Valuable Promotions pulled the plug on the fight.
Baltimore boxing champion Gervonta Tank Davis faces new abuse claims from a woman who claims to be his ex-girlfriend. This is according to our media partner, the Baltimore Banner. Courtney Russell says she dated Davis for 5 months and recently filed a civil lawsuit accusing him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, and other offenses. She claims Davis physically attacked her a number of times during their relationship. Russell claims the most recent incident was Monday at a Miami nightclub. Davis is scheduled to fight Jake Paul in Miami on November 14th.
Now, Jake Paul's team is scrambling to find a replacement opponent. And guess whose name came up? Francis Ngannou. According to reports, Paul's team reached out to several fighters, including Nate Diaz, Ryan Garcia, and the former UFC heavyweight champion himself, Francis Ngannou.
What do you think about the Fury-Ngannou fight?
I think it's great for Francis to show other fighters a roadmap to becoming their own wealthy business mogul, and like leaving the UFC where he was getting taken advantage of, only getting like $600K for fights when he's the heavyweight champion of the world, and he's now going to go make tens of millions of dollars. That is the new model where fighters should take advantage of building their own brand.
But Ngannou's response? Not what they expected. In an interview with TMZ Sports, Francis Ngannou didn't hold back. Let me tell you exactly what went down. Ngannou revealed that Nakisa Badarian from Paul's team called him about replacing Gervonta Davis. But here's the thing, Ngannou was completely confused by the offer. He said, and I quote, "They told me they need a replacement for Gervonta. I said, okay, what can I do for you? They said, we're thinking about you fighting Jake. I was like, which Jake? I was so confused. I wasn't expecting that at all."
Nikisa reached out the other day and tell me how they need a replacement for Gervonta. And after I listened, I wasn't getting it. Then I say, okay, what can I do for you? What exactly? He said, yeah, we're looking for a replacement, but I still haven't get it. I was like, okay, then what exactly can I do for you? He was like, yeah, can I, can you, we think about you to fight Jake? I'm like, what? So we think about you to fight Jake to replace Gervonta. I'm like, who's Jake? I was so confused, I wasn't expecting that at all.
But here's where it gets spicy. Ngannou continued, I'm like, no, bro, come on. Don't disrespect me like that.
I'm like, no, bro, come on. Don't, I mean, don't disrespect me like that.
The former UFC champion made it crystal clear. This fight makes absolutely no sense to him. He questioned how Paul's team could go from a fighter like Gervonta Davis, a world-class boxer, to him, a 255-pound heavyweight knockout artist. Even when they threw big money numbers at him, Ngannou shut it down immediately, saying, "It's not about the numbers. I'm just not interested. It makes no sense for me."
It's not about the number. If it was about the number, we could have started talk. I would have tell you, I'm not just interested. It makes no sense for me. It's not my what I'm looking at right now.
Ngannou essentially called out the pattern in Jake Paul's career, fighting MMA fighters transitioning to boxing, older legends past their prime, and opponents smaller than him. And Ngannou, he's not interested in being another name on that list. Now, you know Jake Paul wasn't going to let that slide. The problem child took to Twitter, or X, whatever we're calling it these days, and fired back with a brutal message. Paul wrote, "Dear Francis, just say you already got humiliated in boxing and are scared to lose to Jake Paul. I accept that. You are light work, my friend, stuck in mud." That's a direct shot at Ngannou's 2 professional boxing losses, a close split decision against Tyson Fury, and a knockout loss to Anthony Joshua. But Paul didn't stop there. He went full savage mode, claiming that his lane in boxing actually helped Ngannou's career, that he spoke up for him repeatedly when Ngannou was fighting with the UFC over his contract. Paul's full response included, "My lane helped your lane. I spoke up for you over and over again. Look at yourself in the mirror. God doesn't like ugly. Maybe the truth is, you are a fake holier-than-thou actor. Maybe use your platform to speak to the youth of your country instead of doing TMZ interviews like a con man to talk about me." And then came the knockout punch of his tweet. Reality check. I sleep you in boxing and Jon Jones does in MMA. Shots fired. But would Ngannou back down? Oh no. Francis Ngannou clapped back, and it was ice cold. The Predator responded with a message that should send chills down anyone's spine. Choose your words wisely, boy. Let that sink in for a moment. This is a man who's literally knocked people unconscious with one punch. When he tells you to choose your words wisely, you probably should listen. But Ngannou didn't stop there. He continued, "I agree that you need someone to discipline you for what you did to Mike Tyson, but stay in your lane." That's a direct reference to Paul's controversial fight with the 58-year-old boxing legend Mike Tyson, which received massive criticism from the combat sports community. In follow-up responses, Ngannou made his position even clearer. He essentially told Paul, "You did speak up for me in the past, but we are still not in the same lane. Grow up and don't fall so low." The message was clear. Ngannou sees himself as operating at a completely different level than Jake Paul. While Paul has built his boxing career carefully selecting opponents, Ngannou jumped straight into the deep end, facing Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua in his first 2 professional boxing matches.
Yo guys, what's up? Waking up today and just remember that I'm the guy that just defeated the linear heavyweight boxing of the world, and that I'm the dead man. Even though I get robbed by those judges. Yes. I really believe that I won that fight. I should have done better, but still, I won that fight. So keep it up. I keep my eyes on him, and hopefully we get a rematch. This time things gonna be definitely different. Cheers.
Ngannou, he's bigger, stronger, and possesses one of the most feared punches in combat sports history. Multiple UFC analysts have called him one of the hardest hitters in MMA history. UFC legend Michael Bisping even weighed in, calling a potential Paul versus Ngannou fight a car crash, and admitted he'd have to give Paul respect if he actually took the fight, because it would be that dangerous for him.
Jake Paul might be fighting Francis Ngannou. He was supposed to be boxing Gervonta "Tank" Davis. And now it turns out that Gervonta Davis has some allegations. And here are the potential opponents: Nate Diaz or Francis Ngannou. To go from fighting Gervonta Davis to now fighting Francis Ngannou. I mean, listen, if he does it, fair play. But I just call #1 bullshit. Nate Diaz, yeah, 100%.
A lot of things. We changed like many things. Just we sit with the coaches and we make the plan, and very difficult to gain the weight.